Welcome digital makers from all over the world. This is Digital Making at Home from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. My name is Mark.
I'm Jimmy.
And this week's theme is Make It 3D. So we're going to look at how you can use an application called Blender to make 3D images and 3D videos. Now, we've got a version of this project on the project site. That's at rpf.io/monkey. And feel free to go there and follow along with the instructions on the project. Or you can do this along with us in this video today. To make 3D images and videos, we are going to be using an application called Blender. Now, Blender is open source and free and cross-platform, so it works on Mac OS and Windows and Linux. And in order to be able to use Blender, you're first going to have to download it. It takes a little bit of time to install, so you might want to pause this video once we've given you the instructions and then pick up once you've installed the program. So to install Blender, the first thing you're going to do is open up a web browser, and then what you need to do is go to blender.org. Hit enter, and that will take you here. It'll automatically, when you click on the download Blender 2.83 button, it should take you to the version for your operating system. So we can see there we've got Blender 2.83, the Windows installer, but the other versions are available. So you download that, you're going to install the application and get permission from your parents if you're working on that computer before you install any applications. And then you can open up Blender and you will see something like this. Well, not quite like this. We're going to file and new.
We'll make a general. And there we go.
So you should see something like this, and you've got this 3D environment, and you can zoom in and out, and you can rotate and have a look around at the simple cube that's in there. So Jimmy, do you want to explain how you are making the camera sort of flip all over the place and look at this cube?
Alright, so when I'm moving my camera like this, what I'm doing now, what I'm doing is I'm pressing down on my scroll. I'm not scrolling, that'll zoom in and out. I'm actually pressing down on it, and when you hear the click, you can start to move around.
And then if you want to zoom in and out?
So if you're zooming in and out, I will actually just use my scroll wheel and scroll out if I want to zoom really far out, and scroll in if I want to come in.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's the basics of how you move yourself around in Blender. Now we've got these objects here. Okay, so what are the objects that we've got on the screen at the moment?
So the one that I've just selected that's orange is our light.
And how are you doing that selection?
So I'm just holding down the left click button and I'm dragging my mouse across the screen.
Cool.
So that one's light. Then over here we have our camera.
Okay.
And here in the middle we have the most obvious, which is the cube.
Brilliant. So Blender allows you to do what's called render your image. So what you're looking at the moment is like the real rubbish version of your project, okay? It's just a really simple cube. But what we can do is we can render and make a graphic from the point of view of that camera that Jimmy just pointed out. So how do we do a render? What do we press?
So all we need to do is we just need to press F12 on the keyboard. It's right at the top right. As you have another pad.
And this will take different amounts of time depending on your computer, because it can be quite intensive graphically for your computer. So if you don't have a graphics card, it might be a little bit slower. On this computer, it renders quite quickly. Okay, let's close that render.
So I just hit escape to close it, or F11.
All right, and now let's move that light around and see how that changes our render. So can you show everyone how you move a light?
So I can either select it here or here at the side. And then all the way over here at the left, I have a bunch of different modes. And we're going to select this one called Move, and that'll give us these 3 different arrows. So we have the green arrow, which will move it on its Y-axis. We have the blue arrow, which moves it up and... I messed up the axis. Which moves it on its Z-axis,
Yes.
sorry. And then we have the red arrow, which will move it forwards and back. Well, it moves it on its X-axis.
Good, so we've got X, Y, and Z coordinates. We can move that light. So let's move that light. Let's move it. Let's go quite high up, and go back on the X-axis a bit more. That's it. Now let's have a look at the render. Oh, it hasn't changed very much. Let's see if we can make it so we get some proper shadows in there. So you've shown everyone how to move an object around, and that applies for all objects in Blender. So we can do the same with the cube. But now what Jimmy's going to do is he's going to add a new object.
So over here at the top left, you have these buttons. I'm just going to hit the add one. I'm going to go into mesh. Sorry, I'm going to I'm gonna go into mesh and I'm gonna select plane. And now we have this flat little surface here. And all I'm gonna do is at the side hit the scale button. I'm gonna scale it with the green arrow, quite like that. And then the same with the red arrow. I don't want to scale it up because it won't change it. And then I'm going to go back to move, and I'm just going to move the cube up a bit.
So you selected the cube then, and then you moved the cube up above the plane.
So we've got a little gap there. And I'll just make the plane, I'll go back into scale, select the plane, make it a bit bigger on its y-axis. And now, when I hit F12.
Oh, we've got a shadow there as well now, that's cool.
Yep.
Okay, so we can see the light's effect on our scene. Let's...
Move the camera.
Are you going to move the camera? Go on then.
Yeah, so I'll move the camera up so that we can see it a bit better. So that'll be the blue arrow. So just move it up a tiny bit. And there we go.
There we go, that's perfect. Excellent. All right then, let's just show everyone, though, if I wanted to get that plane back to its original size, okay, where can you see what the sizes of the plane are at the moment?
So when we zoom out, we can see that the plane's quite big. But here at the side, we can find location, rotation, and scale. And all we're going to do is we're going to just change everything on the scale back to 1. So 1, 1, and 1.
And let's get it back to the origin, so the dead centre of the project again.
So that would be in location. So we want to change this one to 0. I'll change the Y to 0, 2.
So in Blender, you don't have to just click and drag things around. You can also scale things up just using numbers, and you can move things around using the numbers as well. Brilliant. So is there anything else we need to show them about? Just that's the basics, isn't it?
Yeah, and if we do make an animation, to render an animation, you just use Control F.
Okay, we'll do that in a minute. We'll do that later. All right then. So what we're going to do today is we're going to follow through the basics of a project that's on the Raspberry Pi site. It's called Party Monkey, and you can find it at rpf.io/monkey. rpf.io/monkey. And you can follow along with the project there, which has some basics of how to use the Blender UI to start off with, and then building what we're going to build right now. So let's get started. Can we create a brand new scene?
Yep. So I'll go to File here, I'll hit New, I'm going to select General. I won't save this, I don't really want to save it.
Cool, and I'm going to get rid of that cube.
So all we need to do to get rid of the cube is just hit the Delete button.
Brilliant. So deletes the object, and now I'd like to get a monkey.
So we're going to go into Add, and we're going to go into Add, we're going to select Mesh, and right here at the bottom we have Monkey, and there we go, we've got a little nice monkey face now.
Cool, let's render that and have a look at what the monkey looks like. So there we go. His face is a little bit in the dark.
Yeah.
So should we move the light? Let's move the light so it's more central to him. So we can even just move it so it's 0 on the x-axis.
So move the location to 0 on X.
And then move the light up a bit higher. Let's have a look at that. Let's just see what that looks like. That looks a bit better. Now his features stand out a little bit more. I can see him a little bit better. Excellent.
Move
right
it
then.
back a bit on the y-axis.
Okay.
And there we go.
Okay, brilliant. Right, now because this monkey is going to a party, we want to give him a hat to wear.
Yep, so we're going to go into Add again. We'll go into Mesh, and this time we'll grab a cone. And I'm just going to move it up, and it's quite big, but this is going to be our hat for now.
Brilliant.
Now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale it down. So in the scale here, I'm going to set it to 0.4 on the X and Z. And then I'll do the same for the Y. 0.4. And I'll probably make it a tiny bit taller actually on the Z, so I'll do 0.6.
Brilliant. All right, let's position that over his head then.
There we go.
Cool. Can you just have a little rotate around so we can see what he looks like? Brilliant. Excellent. All right then. So let's render him and see what he looks like with a hat on.
So I hit F12 and there we go.
Oh, it looks like it's buried in his head a little bit. Can we lift it up just a little bit, do you think?
Yep. So I'm just going to select it. I'm in Move right now and I'll just move it up a tiny bit.
That's good. That's good.
And F12 and there we go.
Brilliant. Okay then. What else do we want to add? It's a bit bland at the moment, isn't it?
So we could add in some colour.
Yeah, can we add in colour?
So first thing we'll do is we select the monkey here. by clicking on him. And all we're going to do is we're going to go down over here at the right. We have this kind of area here. I can't really highlight it, but it's this area here. We're just going to click on the monkey, and we're going to go to this thing that looks like a circle with kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a circle with some shapes inside.
It says material properties when you hover over it, doesn't it? Material properties.
There we go, material properties. Just going to hit this new button. I'll change the base colour, and monkeys are usually sort of like a brownish colour, so I'll select orange and I'll make it a bit darker.
Brilliant.
There we go.
Okay, now, so that material's added to the monkey, isn't it?
Yeah, and we can see what it looks like with preview.
All right, so that's what the colour's going to look like.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Let's, but it hasn't changed it on the viewport, so let's have a render and see what it looks like. Brilliant. Okay then, so we've got our brown monkey and we want to give him a hat.
Colourful hat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the cone and I'll do exactly the same. Go into material properties. And select the hat. So I hit cone, then I'll create a new one. Set the base colour to, we'll give him a pink hat. And here we can preview it on a bunch of different things.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, then let's render that.
So F12, and there we go. Now I have a monkey with a hat on.
Cool. And this is just an image that we've got at the moment that we could save. I'm trying to remember how to save the image. I think it's the same way we're going to have to save the animation in a second.
Yeah.
So I can just go to image. Oh yeah, image and save.
Save as.
Yeah. So you can save this image, but Jimmy and I are going to do something a little bit more exciting with the monkey because we're going to make a little movie. Okay, so let's get rid of this render. Right then, so we need to use something called keyframes. And what keyframes do is they're going to record the position and the rotation of the monkey at various times in our animation. So down at the bottom of the screen, if you want to show them where the playhead is for the animation. Okay.
So we have this at the bottom here.
And at the moment it's on frame 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can change the different frames, so we won't do anything right now. Now, here at the top right of this little section, we have a start and end. I'm going to just change this end to 120.
So that's 120 frames, which we're going to probably create this animation at about 30 frames a second. So that would be 4 seconds worth of video, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so how do we record a keyframe?
So all we're going to do is at the 0 frame, we're going to select both of these. I'm going to right click and this insert keyframe button here, we're just going to click that. And there's a bunch of different types of keyframes. We're going to pick Lot-Rot Scale, which stands for Location, Rotation and Scale. And now, over at the keyframe thing at the bottom here, we have this little kind of square diamond shape. It's
and
yellow.
That's that keyframe that's saying that we've recorded something there. So we're now going to move it. Where are you going to move it to?
So I'm going to move it to 60 now.
Cool.
And I'll bring this down so that you can see better. Ooh. Bring this down so you can see better. I'll select the monkey.
We haven't actually used the rotate yet, have we?
No. So now what we're going to do is once we've selected them both, we can use this rotate button. And we have these 3 circles here. So the green one rotates on its Y, the blue one rotates on its Z axis, which is what we're going to use, and the red one is the X axis. So I'm just going to undo this with Ctrl Z if I mess up. And I'm just going to rotate it on the blue until it's kind of facing the opposite direction, so roughly about 180. I'll save it there, and then I right click on it, press insert keyframe, and use Lot-Rot Scale.
Cool.
And now I can go over to 120, and I'll rotate it back to normal. There we go. And I'll insert keyframe, Lot-Rot Scale. Brilliant.
So at the moment, if we just did render animation, all it's going to do is it's going to start rendering. It would start rendering each of those keyframes. So if you just close this one.
So to render an animation, we just hit Control and F12 this time.
Control and F12. And this will keep rendering all the different pictures, but it's not actually doing anything with them at the moment, and we're going to change that. So I can't remember where the render settings were. Can you?
No.
I think it's in rendering.
Ah.
So if we go to the rendering menu up at the top there.
we have these different render engines. We're just going to stick to Eevee.
And then it was...
One
Which one was it? Can I have a quick look?
Yep. Image.
Is that it? Yeah, file format and stuff like that. So I'll just redo that quickly what I did. So we were in the layout mode, okay? We were in the layout mode. We're not going to look at any of these other modes, but we can go to this rendering mode. And then over here, I'll let Jimmy take over. So the first thing, our monitor is 1920 by 1080, and that's what it's going to render that image at the moment. So let's reduce that because we don't need a video at 1920 by 1080. So we'll reduce the resolution by 50%.
So we'll go over to the right here and we'll go into output properties. I'm just going to set this resolution to 50%. And I'm going to set...
That, yeah, should we put that to 30? Because that's what we said we were going to do, wasn't it?
Yep, so I'll put that at 30. And now here we can save it to wherever we want on the driver. I'm just going to save it to my videos.
I think you need to give it a file name.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just save it in my videos. I'll call it Party Monkey Render. Accept.
And we need to...
And we're going to change this to... I think we're going to go for AVI JPEG.
Okay.
And we'll set the quality to 50%.
And the higher the quality, the longer it will take you to render. So if you find that your computer's a little bit slow and it's taking ages, always adjust down the resolution and adjust down the quality.
It will only look like slightly worse, and
okay.
in the end it's a lot quicker.
So
So I'll hit Control F12. We can see that's rendering a lot faster.
I think we might need to get the video sped up at this point. So that's it from us this week. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit how to use Blender to make images and videos. And please do share any creations with us at rpf.io/home. It doesn't have to be the Party Monkey. You can experiment with Blender and make lots of different things and really have a play around. Don't forget also to check out our live stream on Wednesdays, also at rpf.io/home. So thank you very much for staying with us, and we shall see you all again soon. Bye bye.